Okay.
Good stuff. No, but that's okay.
You're on the guest.
Are you getting into the mill?
Oh, no, I'm at the guest city guest, so I should get into the mill. That's what I should do.
Okay, we are live streaming on YouTube, so.
Thank you.
Go on your best beer.
Yeah, we want to
Marcus, are
see
you
you
in
too,
town?
Kelly.
Thank you, Kim.
Marcus, are you there?
He was for a bit, but he seems to have disappeared.
I have not disappeared. I just went to get a glass of water.
Ah. You just moved out of your place, so I can't see you anymore. There you are.
I had to get some water.
I'm drinking iced tea, so I understand. Yes.
Actually, truth be told, I went to get a Twix too.
Left or right?
It's a left. Actually, it's a little bit of Halloween candy. So I got a Twix and a water.
How do you still have Halloween candy?
Or
It's
is it?
for this year, not last year.
Or I
This is this year. I just went to Costco.
Oh, so it's a big pack.
Kevin, we need to get busy. It's after 7.
Okay, I think we're good. We are live streaming. We are up. I just need to grab the roster.
So do you want to start? Where do you want to do the, start with the?
Let's do roster first, or roll call first. And then we'll just mention he's here and then we'll do the oath of office. Okay.
And he becomes a member at that point. He can.
Yep,
Okay, great.
vote and all that good stuff.
Okay, so let's call the meeting to order and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag,
of the
United States of America,
For the Republic.
To the republic
Which it
for which
stands,
it stands,
and
one nation,
one nation,
under
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty
and
with liberty and
justice
justice for all.
Obviously.
Yeah. That was a real test for us in the room because we're hearing each of you guys at like microseconds off. So,
Same
Well,
thing
maybe-
for us in the
maybe-
video. We can
Maybe
hear
we're
everybody else
hearing
doing
you
it too.
off.
Okay, so next up is the roll call. Kelly, can you lead us through that, please?
Sure, Commissioner Hilt.
Here.
All right, Commissioner Daughtry,
Present.
Commissioner Tagent,
Present.
Commissioner Hayden.
Present.
Thank you, Commissioner McLarnon,
Here.
Commissioner McCurdy,
Here,
Commissioner Welch,
Here.
Commissioner Frederick. Let me just be sure he didn't try to log on. No. Okay, Commissioner Rasmussen,
Here,
Commissioner Ives. Is anybody else on? So,
It's only here about 10 minutes.
which one?
Sean?
Ives, okay.
Okay, then I guess we need a motion to excuse the absent members.
I'll make a motion to excuse the absent members.
I second.
Okay, motion's moved in second. Everyone in favor, say aye.
aye,
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries unanimous. Kelly, I think at this point, we want to do the swearing in of the new member.
Yes, we've got a new Veterans Commission member.
Hooray.
Gail, you're not off the hook yet, though. I'd like to introduce Eugene, and your last name is
Gabriel's.
Gabriel.
Long.
Okay. All right, so Eugene, he also informally goes by Gene, so. And I'm gonna do your oath of office. We can just do it right here.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna have you raise your right hand and repeat after me, and I'll go slow. I state your name.
I, Eugene Gabriel,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
here that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and the state of Washington
and the state of Washington,
and the ordinances of the city of Lake Stevens,
and the ordinances of the city of Lake Stevens,
and I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
perform and discharge
perform and discharge
the duties of Veterans Commission member
the duties as Veterans Commission's member
according to the law
according to the law
and to the best of my ability and understanding.
and to the best of my ability and understanding.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks for joining the team.
Thank you for having me.
Yep, Gene, if you want, we're pretty informal, so I don't know if you want to introduce yourself at all. Or we can just dive in, but I'll give
Just
you.
dive in.
Okay, fair enough. He's humble as well. Okay, is there anyone here for public comment? Can you see, Kelly?
No, nobody's logged in.
Okay,
So,
I have just a bit of a procedural thing. I think there were meeting minutes from June that we were going to approve in September, but we didn't get a quorum.
all right.
Can we, I know I've read them. I think we can just add that to the
Yes.
agenda at this point.
Because we didn't have a quorum last meeting, but you're right.
Right.
Correct, we do need to approve those.
Move to approve June's agenda minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve the minutes from the June meeting. Is there any discussion on that from anyone remote before we vote?
That was June 10th.
June 10th, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay with me.
Fine with me. I'm good.
Hey, hearing, everyone in favor of approving the minutes from
Aye.
the 10th, say aye.
Bye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Minutes are approved. We'll move on to the discussion items. Okay, first up is adopt a highway. Samara or Vern, any updates there?
So there was an email sent by the group that has the other half of the freeway. I did not realize that they had sent an email requesting if we wanted to do it with them this month until this weekend, because the email went to my my junk email. So for whatever reason, it went into my junk email and I didn't know. So she's wanting to see if we can do some stuff collaboratively. We're gonna miss the October one because I think it was this weekend or the next weekend that she wanted to do it. But I think if we can connect with her and coordinate like some dates for the rest of the year, or like however many that we're supposed to do. And sorry, just my son's literally just mimicking me as I'm talking. I think if we can get on the same page as them and just schedule it for like the whole year, I feel like that's going to make things a lot easier than trying to do like a month-to-month deal. But Vernon, if there's anything else that you wanted to add, feel free.
Vern, anything else?
It was kind of unclear to me if the other group had the south side of the road all the way down, or we both had halfway down on both sides. I guess I missed understanding that part.
So we have the part that we have already done. That's the first mile that we have. And then from like the freeway inward is them, if that makes sense.
But
Yeah.
we only did one side, didn't we, or did we do both?
Yeah, we would be responsible for both sides of the freeway
Okay.
in terms of like the left and the right side of the roads. But
Yeah.
we would only go till like the first mile out from in the city going toward the freeway. And then they would take care of from the freeway going into the city for the mile on the left and right side.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that clearance, understanding. So I don't have a date in mind. Do you, Samara, have a date in mind that we could start out?
No, now that I've seen her email, I was gonna reach out to her and CC you on it, and see if we can just figure out some dates for like the next basically through the rest of into the year. See what her thoughts are around dates to collaboratively do it together. I know we don't normally do it in like the fall, winter time because it's cold and slick and wet and windy. But we could probably figure out some dates going into the spring, summertime. But I try and connect with her.
Does this include just this year or up through about April when we started?
I would say to try and figure out the dates up through April.
And Samara, if you get jammed up, reach out to me, or I'm sure Vern will help too, in terms of, coordinating.
Okay, thank you.
How many more times do we need to do between now and April? 2 or 3?
I want to say 3. We have to do 4 in a year.
So basically, we've only done 1 then.
Right.
Oh, can you grab that?
So
Dennis. Great.
did you want to select some dates and then I can just select some dates, or do you want to, how do you want to handle that, Samara?
Dennis, if you want to swap one out or be down here, wherever.
I want to connect with the lady from the other group to see if maybe she's already got some dates in mind.
Okay,
And if she doesn't, then we all just kind of come up with a couple of dates and brief it to the rest of the group.
if we can do 1 more this year, it seems to me, because of the holidays, and then 2 like in January or February, and then in March or April, so we can get 3 more. So that's kind of what I was thinking.
Why don't you guys, hash it out and see what we can do, as you said, Samara, with the other group, and then just email us. I think, we're all eager to get out there. So before it
Hey.
gets cold.
I'm the one
Sounds
that,
good.
I'm the one that actually forwarded that email to you guys, and I'm blanking. Was it, I forgot what group they were. Is it like the Being Neighborly, like Stevens?
Something like that.
Okay, good. Well, there's some progress there, and
We'll follow up.
great. Okay, anything else on that before we move on?
Do we have signs?
I'll jump in, Samara, correct me if I'm wrong, but the state will put the signs up, and I haven't seen them, but I haven't been out there looking lately.
Correct. Yeah, they're not up. I will reach back out. They said that they were going to have them done the last time I talked to them, which was a while ago. So I will follow up with them. Actually, I'll send an email right now so that I don't forget, and see what the status is of the sign.
I just have
Okay.
maybe a city one for Rotary the other day over in Marketplace, since I'm like, I don't think we have signs yet.
Yep, the city's good at it.
And Samara, if you need someone to pick up all the supplies like I did last time, just let me know.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to business recognition. Only thing I have to say there, I don't have any new info on any businesses right now. I hope to, when we get to the newsletter, have a newsletter go out in coordination with the survey that we're planning. So if anyone has any leads on veterans businesses, I would just say forward them to me so that we can move on it.
Bring Eugene up to speed on the business recognition. What we have is we give recognition to businesses that are veteran friendly or hire veterans or veteran owned businesses in the Greater Lake Stevens area. And we actually recognize them at a council meeting.
With some sort of certificate.
Yeah, certificate, yeah. And they can put that in their business. I have one in the back of my hand.
Okay, moving on to Coffee Klatch. Just a I'll give an editorial comment here. We did have a request from Debbie to move this to on the on hold activities. I didn't do that just because we didn't have the meeting. And so I'll turn it over to you now to give that update and we can take action as needed.
Well, I just, I did put the past 2 months on hold, just for the past, prior to that, for the past 3, possibly 4, we only had council members and or spouses show up. And it's not getting out there. And I'm hoping that when we go to we talk about the community survey, we might be able to pull it back in, unless you have any other ideas, but it's not serving anyone right now. A lot of people seem interested, but no one is showing up. So I think maybe we need to re-pivot and figure it out and see if there's something else we need to do that would be better serving.
Right, or communicate better or whatever,
Mhm.
right. I guess we should note also that Commissioner Ives has joined and
Yes. Yeah.
welcome, Dennis.
Yeah.
Okay, with that, so we'll move this to on hold activities for next month and move on to the community survey. So I'll give a bit of a preamble and sort of to level set for everyone. We originally talked about this in the spring, and because we didn't have meetings over the summer, we really didn't make a lot of progress on it. So we have been meeting, there's 3 of us, Debbie, Jean, and I have been meeting several times to advance the wording of the survey and also the logistics around how we would physically direct mail the roughly 1,200 residents that we're aware of. And as background, Debbie's done the lion's share of the work here, being able to pull first the people that have VA loans. So that's, I think, 900 plus when the original poll you did of that in the spring. That's households. And also we know that there's 150 plus or minus homes in the Constitution Park that are for service members. So that's where we're thinking the numbers around 1,000 plus, maybe as high as 1,200 that we can identify. I would expect more veterans that don't have VA loans that happen to live in the city. But we wouldn't be able to direct mail them unless we have some way of identifying them. So Debbie's gone out and you'll see when we get into this piece, she's approached Alexander Printing to find out what it would cost to send out. We based it on 1,000, but in subsequent discussions, we're thinking 1,200 is probably a better number. And then we have to put stamps on them and run the survey. So there'll be a couple of pieces of the discussion. We wanted to bring everyone through the detail of the actual survey itself, where it stands today, get feedback and make any adjustments we need to. It's a bit of a juggling act to coordinate the printing and the survey and time it. So what I'm hoping is that assuming everyone agrees, we'd be able to get a motion similar to what we do with the newsletter that says, you know, we're all comfortable with it. We understand that there will be wording tweaks as we go forward. And at this point, I think the wording language that will change in the survey is related to the actual presentation. We've been mocking it up on SurveyMonkey, and which is a very popular platform for delivering surveys. At this point, the way it looks on a mobile phone versus the way it looks on a computer are the kind of things where we may have to tweak words, change the question a little bit just so that it fits properly on the screen. Because we know from general survey information, if people have to scroll too much or it's too awkward, they aren't going to complete it. So I think when we look at the questions, the 3 of us are quite comfortable that this is the meat of the survey. And again, the changes that we anticipate will be in, I'd call them user interface kind of design changes that we have to do to meet the actual platform. Dennis?
And it's probably late to bring this up, but I'm concerned about the demographic that you're going about. You're looking at homeowners and active duty military. What about renters? Things
Right.
like that? How are we, could this possibly skew the survey results?
It could, but this was the most creative way, really the only way that we could find the least amount of veteran demographic, because there's just no way for us to find the renter.
I seem to remember when we started this whole thing and you had the group come and help us get set up, that they found 3,500 veterans in Lake Stevens. I don't know how they did it, but they did it.
One of the things I would say is we're not, I don't disagree is a strong word. I think it's a mischaracterization to say we're focusing only on the people with VA loans. Those are the veterans we've been able to identify. So we will launch it through a news flash from the city. All the communication channels we know, that's one of the reasons we want to do a newsletter. We'll use Facebook, the city's channels, and try to run the thing for several weeks so that we can get the word out there and actually, as we've been going through this, there's active service people, there's people in the reserves, there's veterans, there's their families. And I would argue really anyone in Lake Stevens that has an opinion on what the Veterans Commission should be doing, we'd be interested in hearing from them. But what we've tried to do, it's a great question, because when we get into this, the detail, you'll see that we're trying to understand. So who is it that's responding? So that if we get a bunch of people that aren't veterans responding, well, we want to listen to that, but we also want to understand that they're not particularly the target community that we're hoping that we're supposed to serve, right? But it's a great question, and I would say any other ideas you have of how we can identify, the bigger set of people is the goal. We definitely want to do that.
The VA loan, believe it or not, that information can be public record. So it's easier to access depending on, I have access through a title company. If someone has a better idea of how to get addresses for other veterans in the community, that would be great, but I just don't think there's a repository anywhere that you can just easily access to get every single veteran in the community. Like we've said before, many of people on the commission are veterans or veteran family members. Veterans aren't real big at saying, hi, it's me, I'm a veteran. So sometimes yes, true. Most of them are not real self-serving in that respect. So that's what I came up with. That's kind of what started this whole idea, is I thought, oh, I have access to this. I can get this information to at least get it out to as many. And do all people that have veteran loans, are they veterans? Veteran loans are assumable. There might be a very, very, very small percentage of people that have a VA loan that are not veterans, but it's minutia.
Is there any way to go back and find the study that was done at the beginning of the commission and see if there's any information in that?
So there wasn't any information in how to get a hold of anybody. All it was numbers. It didn't give us any idea how to do that. Kurt, do you happen to remember, there was an organization that was touted by them that might have had access to the information for getting their demographics? Do you happen to remember who that was?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, although Gail brings up a good point. If Operation Military Family, who is in the nexus and in the center of all things military and veteran in our community, has a hard time identifying them, then I think we are too. I can't remember off the top of my head, Kim, who that was. That was a few years ago.
Would report have been filed? Is it something we can go find as in?
It would be in our minutes. It should be.
Yeah, we have it. I have a copy of it. problem is it didn't have,
Yeah,
all it
okay.
gave us is numbers. Like Gail said, there's 3,500 people, supposedly veterans in Lake Stevens was, I think that was the number that was given out, but that's a whole number. They didn't give us any way of reaching out to any of those people. So where they're getting their information, I don't know. But if we could find out, if we could try to get into that report, and find out who that report was by, we might be able to get to them and say, okay, how do we reach out to these people? Because obviously we're not getting there. I mean, your idea so far has been the best idea we've ever had, so.
Mhm.
Snohomish County still have that veterans office.
Yeah, I was thinking we could reach out to them as well.
Filter- Get their report and filtered by zip code.
I don't know if they'd be giving out that information though. I mean, that might, I don't know if they freely give that information out.
Well, if they hold it, wouldn't it be a public record?
Say that again. Kurt?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have a bad connection. If it's part of county government, wouldn't it be a public record?
Right, I think there's two things would be, as Debbie was, I think, just going to it. And I'll take an action to reach out to them. I think that's a good idea. We can try to get a copy of the report and go back that way too. Whether or not people's names and addresses are something that we'll be able to get access to, I think is a separate question of, it's not clear to me if someone chooses to get VSO services that they're under an obligation to share that information. So, but we can ask the question, right? I will take that action.
Well, clearly, we're not gonna get everybody that, even in homeowners, because,
Oh, no, we know that.
yeah, because I don't have a VA loan.
Yeah.
So clearly, we're not gonna get all of them.
But it's
But
more
it
than
is
we're
a
getting to
start.
now.
I mean, at
Right.
least we've got some people that we can reach out to. And the questions that you have in here, the way you have them worded, we reach out to somebody with that address and they're gonna say, no, we don't have anybody like that here. So, okay. And we're not gonna get these back more than likely with addresses on them either. This is all, just a survey.
Right.
So we're doing is the postcard we're sending out is just to get them to get to the survey on SurveyMonkey? Is that what
Right.
we're
The,
doing?
the,
There's gonna be a
the
QR.
postcard, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, we're gonna have we'll have a QR code, but we'll also have a branded link.
Right, okay. So, yeah, I think this is a good start. It's better than we've done since 2017.
I think what I'd like to do, what will make sense is if everyone could open up that attachment, and it would be the latest one I sent was this morning in the email. It's labeled version 2A of the survey flow chart. And I'll just take a few minutes to walk us through at a high level. I realize that, this can drag on, but it's a balance, right? I want to make sure everyone has a chance to view it together and to ask questions and to make comments and to give us suggestions to improve it.
Kevin, do you want me to pull it up?
If you could share it for the remote
Yeah.
people, that would be wonderful. Yeah. And I guess that we can follow along here probably on the screen
Yeah.
as well.
Let me just do that real quick.
What I did, if you didn't catch it in the email, but Kelly had sent a version of this where it was on Friday. And again, we had to get that out on Thursday, so it'd be ready to go out on the agenda on Friday. So since Thursday, we did some mocking up in the actual tool that we feel we'll be using. And that's why things are in blue here that are different. So essentially, there's now a welcome screen. And I don't know, Kelly, you have the version I sent this morning you're putting up, or the?
Yeah, here, okay, so this is this morning.
Yeah, let's keep that one up, because
Okay.
it's the same, but there's things in blue. So essentially there'll be a splash welcome screen, right? And then we can go to the next page. This next page has 2 questions on it. And this is kind of our demographic data, right? We're wanting to, after the fact, be able to understand who is saying what in the agenda. So the first question is basically trying to understand, are they in our community? And we've broken that down because it's not straightforward, right, into the actual community itself, or do they have a mailing address, or are they in a surrounding community, right? Because we've said if we're in a community adjacent to Lake Stevens, that's still part of our quote community. or something else, right? And if there's something else, we're going to shunt them off down another path. We're still going to ask their comments. We're still going to ask them to share, why are they taking this survey? But we're not going to ask them all the detailed questions that are in the main survey. So going on to question 2, and the rest of the flow chart, these are people that are part of our quote, community, either Lake Stevens or the surrounding, or they identify themselves as the surrounding community. So we ask, who they are in terms of their military connection, is question 2. And then if we go to the next page, questions 3 through 6 are really the core of the survey, right? And to make it easier, it's really 3 questions, 3, 4, and 5. And then question 6 is, did we miss anything? Feel free to tell us. And I think it would be easier for me to just pause here for a second to give everyone a chance to look at 3, 4, and 5. And then I have an editorial comment to make before, and then we'll open it up. Okay, so you're probably still looking a little bit at the details of the different options, but hopefully you can see from the flow of the questions it kind of gets big picture, down to narrowing down to what are the specific things you would like to see us do over the course of the 3 questions. The thing that we're most uncomfortable with, I think as a group, the 3 of us are quite comfortable with questions 4 and 5. 3 and 4. Question 5, quite honestly, this is kind of a paraphrasing of what we've been doing. And we've all kind of said that what we've been doing hasn't been effective. So we're a little concerned that we might not have the actual A through D options accurate. And our plan is, I'm looking over to Debbie to make sure that we're still on track with that. The plan is that there's going to be a news flash going out from the city any day, this week, hopefully, that will solicit a focus group from veterans or active military people in the community. And basically, we're going to ask them question 5 as an open-ended question. Tell us what we should be doing specifically to help you. And if they come back with the same things that we've got here, great. We would know we were on the right track, but didn't do it right. If they come back with 2 new things, we may change those options to highlight, what they tell us is important to them. The rest of this survey, we felt pretty good about, but that's the only, everything in here, I think sounds great, but if you think through it, we've tried many of these things and we're saying like, geez, we haven't been, since the pandemic, we really haven't gotten traction on any of these things. So I think what I'd like to do is just cover the last 2 questions, then I'll be done talking and open it up to you guys. If you go to the next page, 7, 8, and 9, these are just the follow-up things that, we'll look at. How do they fit, in case we have to do another survey someday, we want to know, how did they hear about it? What are the most effective communication channels? And, in the end, we're soliciting if they want to be part of the foundation or the Veterans Commission, do they want to give us their info, or hopefully, or sign up for the city's infrastructure so they can get newsletters and upcoming events. So I guess before I open it up totally, I'd like to turn to Debbie and then Jean to see if you guys want to add anything or correct anything I've said.
No, there's no corrections. I will say that we're thinking about how the little postcard is going to look. And I do have a question, and it might be a Sean question, and he's not here. But I have a very low resolution logo. So I'm wondering, does anyone have a high resolution logo that could actually be used in print?
I think I have.
High resolution?
I believe I have.
Okay, because the other route I was going, because I'd heard that maybe it was lost. And the other thought I had was the logos on our banner. We have that stand-up banner. Is there a logo on there?
Yeah, both the logos on there for the veteran. I think the Veterans Commission and the Veterans Foundation
okay.
are on the banner.
Do
That's
you-
the veterans. That's a commission.
Yeah. Do you know who did that? Who did we have make that banner?
Sean had it made and it was made by like Vista Print or something like that.
Oh, okay. So what I was thinking is if no one had the high resolution picture, then maybe he still has it wherever he ordered that sign, because it was obviously high res, because it was.
Debbie, let me check what I've got when we, not to go down the shirt situation, but when we were looking at the shirts, I think I had to give them a pretty higher resolution. Well, I'll give you what I've got.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
And I've got.
Which I got
the
from
logos of the
Samara.
Veterans Commission and the Veterans Foundation.
Yeah, I have them too, and they were in like the group Google Drive, but it's a very low resolution.
I'll see what I got.
Okay, thank you.
So Deb, you'll chase that one down?
Yeah. And then the other thing, did you want me to talk about the funds?
Why don't we hold on the funding and go to get through the questions, then we can switch to the funding one. Go ahead,
Another
Kim.
question. So we're gonna put this out on a postcard. It's targeted at veterans that we know of in your database. And then we're also going to, we're gonna do newsflash, a couple of other things in here. Are we going to have this go out on social media such as the Lake Stevens community page or anything like that? And your question 1 and 2 are gonna weed out the people that are gonna take it that aren't veterans.
Right.
Yeah, hopefully. I had last week, I had a meeting with Dawn, who does events for the city, and asked her, kind of went through all this and told her what we were doing. And she said, yes, that she would post anything we needed in a newsflash and in the weekly wrap up.
So the
And I saw it
chamber
in the
would
weekly
also
wrap-up.
do it. We're chamber members, so the chamber would also do that in their or their
Perfect.
newsletter, which is weekly. So we just get whatever we want to send to them. I was just thinking of another group that would do it. I just lost it.
Veterans, Snohomish County veterans, I always forget which way they have it on Facebook, but they put out a lot of content, and they will, I've actually just shared stuff straight to their page, so. But I will spread it as far as I can socially.
so I just sent you the logo that Kim sent me. So that's the one you have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't get
Gene,
I can't get
anything-
my drive right now, so.
Anything you want to add on the survey text itself, or?
No, nothing on survey text. I think we've gotten as far as we can at this point. So any thoughts or ideas for potential improvements, please do share. And as we discussed, the information that we would get from the flash or the focus group survey will definitely help us to address things that we don't want to repeat again, and maybe come up with something else that would be more of a driving force to get people to participate in these events for us.
Who's gonna lead the focus?
The focus group is actually just going to be another survey question that we'll do, drive to an online
One
survey.
survey question that goes out. People
We're
We're sending it
respond.
out in newsflash.
Yeah, we're not gonna have people sitting in front of us.
Yeah.
We're just gonna take whatever input they give us and distill it down
Yeah.
and try to use it in the survey.
Okay.
And I actually just wanted to say, thank you to Gene. He dove into this head first before his official with the
Yes.
commission.
Yes.
And thanks to Kevin too. This has been good. It's been fairly quick, but we've gotten a lot accomplished, so.
So with that, are there any questions or comments? I guess I should start in the room first. Sorry, I'll give not Dennis or Kim, anything you guys want to call out for?
No, I like it. I've read through it a couple of times, and I think it flows well. It asks the right questions, except for maybe what you're talking about on question 5. I'm hoping that we will get some feedback, and maybe that will change a little bit. That would be nice to come up with some other ideas we haven't come up with.
Yep.
Right.
But other than that, even if we don't, this is a good survey as far as I'm concerned. I used to do a lot of surveys in the military. It's a good survey. I think we'll get some responses out of this.
Anything from anyone on the Zoom meeting?
In reading the questions where you get to pick 2, every subject in that question is applicable. So I don't know how to pick just 2 of them.
And that, yeah, that's a good point. And that was the, hopefully if that's the case, would you get to like question 6 where it says, is there anything else? You know, then they can say, hey, I really need these other things too, or these are really important. or-
Okay.
Hopefully they would, people that taking the survey would choose like the 2 most important. Because all of these, yes, all of these probably pertain to many people. But if they choose their top 2, then at least we know which ones we really need to focus on.
Well, and as you said before, veterans tend to not identify themselves very often, especially women veterans. And I know we've got several in this community. And then you ask a question about mental health. They're not going to tell you that either.
Why do you think that many women veterans don't identify themselves, out of curiosity?
It's, well, one, we don't like black baseball caps. It's just not something we would normally wear.
God.
And it's not that we're just invisible. I have gone to places, I have gone to the VA, stood in line waiting for my appointment, and I've had older veterans come up to me and tell me, I'm a wife, I can't stand there. And there's no guests in the VA right now. So it's like, really? I have been yelled at Home Depot when I park in the veterans slot. So you get tired of that crap. So you don't identify, you just go on about your business.
That's really disappointing. Yeah. Yeah.
It is, it is.
I was gonna say, I've also gotten the wife feel, like, who's your, with, you know, is your soldier, your husband a soldier? Where's your spouse? And like, I am the soldier. It's irrelevant. I'm a soldier. So yeah, I've gotten that too.
Yeah, and I've checked in at a check-in place at the VA, and the person checking me in says, are you checking in for your husband? Well, no.
I'm the veteran.
And then still, when they call you for an appointment, they come out and say, Mr. So-and-so. So I just sit and wait until they realize, oops. It's just like, and that's just what's going on. That's what's been going on forever, and it's still going on. So it's tough.
I'm sorry to hear that. I was just curious. So.
Samara, Kurt, Vern, any comments? Are you guys good or?
Nope, I'm good.
No, it looks good to me. I've been reading it. I can't think of any additional things to put in.
Okay.
I don't have anything to add either. Just wanted to acknowledge all of the work you guys put in. And it looks really good. Thanks.
All right, then let's move on to, I guess if anyone does think of anything, we've got a couple of weeks probably before this would launch. So, you know, I do my best thinking shop. If anyone else is like that and you think of something later, just pass it along. Debbie, we're going to move on to talking about the pricing estimate. I'll turn it over to you for that.
Sure. Back in June, so before we took our hiatus for a couple months, I reached out to Alexander Printing and asked.
You don't have the microphone go down to, sorry, it'll just be easier to hear. Thanks. Thank you.
Sent out the information to Alexander Printing and had them do a quote for us. Now, they can do bulk rate, and I didn't really add any more information to that because at that point I didn't know whether we'd be bulk rate regular or bulk rate nonprofit. I've heard now that it would be bulk rate regular. So what we did was we went through and we just targeted out based on what their quote was, that printing is going to be about $600. The stamps $300. It depends on what the bulk rate is. I actually don't know what the bulk rate is. Our survey platform, SurveyMonkey, is $100 a month. And my meeting that I had with Dawn, I actually asked her if that was anything that we could like maybe go through the city for. She uses Microsoft Forms, I believe.
365.
Okay, yeah. And she does that for just the basic surveys, but the city then will outsource to their PR firm to do any of the more larger,
Complex.
more important, robust, that's the word I'm looking for, thank you, robust surveys, but that won't work for us because when they do that, they basically take full control of everything regarding that survey. And we want to be able to have access to the data. So Survey Monkey, $200 a month. We figure we should probably keep it open for 2 months because, you know, depending on when someone gets the postcard, maybe it'll sit around for a while. I only check my mail once a week, if that sometimes. So, and then printing buffer, Kevin thought would be a good idea, which is true, for giving it basically a $200 printing buffer, depending on if we have more or less in our list of addresses.
One of the things I'll just throw in here that I guess I'll have to ask, you know, the group's comfort level with is that the number of the final number, we're saying 1,200, you know, that's a bit of a guesstimate. Basically, we know that it's at least 1,000. So that's what Debbie had gotten the quotes on. So we sort of just did the math of multiplying by everything in the quote by 120% to come up with a quote for 1,200. But that may not be the actual markup, and if it comes out to be 1,300 or something like that. So that's what the buffer's about. The other thing I'll just clarify that the Survey Monkey is $99 a month, and we figured 2 months. We also, just again from the timing point of view, we have to launch this thing in advance so we can test it and really be comfortable that it's ready to go before we actually you know, print and mail the mailer. So there's a little bit of a, you know, in my head I'm thinking like probably a couple of weeks that we're going to be live on the survey platform before we're actually open for surveys. At that time,
Sandbox.
They have a sandbox, but they have a free, I'll say, platform level, and that's what we're using now. But you can't use their advanced features. You can't launch the survey to actually get
They
at
don't
it.
have a sandbox for their advanced.
Yeah, they don't have a sandbox that you can use effectively. And then there'll be a couple of weeks. So, you know, it's like a 2-week, 4-week actual survey time, and then a couple of weeks after we could be analyzing the data on their platform because it's fairly robust. And we could extend it open, you know, to be more than 4 weeks if we want. So that's how I'm getting kind of to 8 weeks. It's a 2-4-2 or maybe a 2-6, a 2-5-1, something like that. Hopefully that made a little bit of sense. So that you put all that together and it comes up to roughly somewhere in the $1,300 range. And there's, I kind of glossed over, there's 2 different mailer sizes. So we went with a larger side just to be safe in terms of our pricing estimate. So again, we've got somewhere between 3,000 and 3,500 in the 3,400 in the carryover budget. And that's what we want to use to fund this, right? And Kelly, assuming this would go forward, I need your help because I know that from before, Alexander's would really want the city to issue the order to them and rather than us paying for it on the side and getting reimbursed.
Yeah, let me talk with Barb. Or
We'll have to
Lance, like
figure out-
exactly how she wants that done, but
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
we'll make it happen.
So I think I want to just give everyone a chance to think about this, ask questions, poke holes in it. You know, my hope would be that we can end up, if everyone's comfortable, making a motion to move forward and have us tweak the final bits of the survey as we go. But we're a group and we've got to come to a decision as a group of what we want to do.
Are we sure that $1,300 is going to be enough if we find more people to mail to?
No, I mean, it's, you know, is it a,
It's our best.
What's
guess.
the latitude in that number increasing if needed?
I think what we'd have to do if the number goes over, you know, we've got $200 in there. We'd have to come back to the group to ask for more.
Well, you've got $200 in there as a printing buffer. I mean, you might as well call that contingency fees, right?
Right.
So we
Right.
could go, I mean, normally on the council with contracts that we do for building and things like that, we have a contingency fee of 20% or 10% or 20% or whatever it is. So we could just say, we could put a 20% contingency fee on this and we can go up to that point without coming back to that.
Yeah, like a not to exceed unless you come back to the group.
So $200, if you look at $1,000, $200 is your 20%. So, okay, what do we really want to do there? We want to say $1,300 with a 20%, then that gives you 200 and whatever.
Yep. 250 on top of the 1,300.
It's either that or we say, okay, we're just gonna go with what we have right now. We can always do it again with, if we come up with extra addresses, we can do it again.
Right.
Yes. So you could just say, okay, we're gonna go with 1,300 right now. Just do that, like you have in here, it's not to exceed 1,300. Great. And then we do round 2 if we need to.
Right.
So that's an easier, maybe even a cleaner way.
So
Can you guys, I guess I should have asked this before, are you guys able to hear everything remotely for the conversation? Okay.
Yes, we could hear.
So I'd like to motion to accept the survey, subject to the finalized tweaking of the words like Kevin had discussed earlier.
And do you want to do it as 2 pieces? Is that what you're thinking?
I
Is?
probably.
Second.
So we have a motion to accept the survey and a second. Any discussion before we vote?
So accept the survey subject to finalizing the exact words.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Second part, I'd like to make a motion to accept the survey expenditures not to exceed $1,300.
Second.
We have a motion for fees not to exceed 1,300. It's been seconded. Any discussion before we vote? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carries. Okay, thank you all. I think we will march forward. Okay, newsletter. Just briefly, again, I mentioned it. I'm going to target, I'm thinking it's probably going to be November-ish that the survey will hit earliest by the time we coordinate everything that needs to be coordinated. So that's what I'm targeting as a newsletter to coincide with that. We don't have a lot of content, but it can be short and sweet. And if anyone has anything, just send it to me. Vern, I'll circle with you on our flag status. That's the
On
new
On which status?
the half mast, just explain.
Oh,
it.
yes. I'll work on that and get it ready.
Okay, great, thank you. And that's all I have on newsletters. Partner network. Obviously, we didn't have Bunker Labs in July because we didn't have a meeting in July. Kind of feeling that we've moved on to other things, but yeah, Samara, we've muted you, so
You can unmute at any time.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was unmuted. Sorry.
No worries. So if you guys would like to bring Bunker Labs in, we certainly can. For those who maybe aren't remembering, they were the group that is trying to do entrepreneurial stuff for veterans. And they have a local chapter in Seattle. So I'm happy to let it die on the vine and focus on the survey for right now. But if people want to, bring it in, I'm happy to chase it. And Kurt, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but is there anything, I know you and I have talked about doing this partner network thing and bringing folks in. So I certainly don't want to, if you're like dying to have, 7 different people come in, I don't want to cut you off the knees there.
No, I don't have anything for this meeting. I'm good.
So unless anyone, otherwise we'll just move along but let's come back to this because I do think it's a good idea to bring people in.
Do you want to put it up?
let's leave it up.
Okay,
Don't
leave it
make me
up,
feel
okay.
guilty, probably. Yeah, go with the guilt factor here. Okay, I do have an update on Purple Heart City. I guess, actually, it's down on the on hold on this version, so is it? No, where'd it go? There it is. Okay, so I'm gonna move into the activities on hold. Purple Heart City is the first one. And I actually have an update there. I have been in touch with the Highway Department, Public Works, and they have the signs. I was afraid they had lost the signs. They're in the truck, they're driving around the city. They're making their way to the poles. All the poles have been replaced. The wooden poles are now metal. So there's progress there on the boundary markers. That's been done. And I know one more of the signs have gone up. I sent them a little map, prioritizing the Route 9 and 204 and 20th Street off the trestle. And I'm hoping those will go up any day, but I was actually hoping that I'd be able to call it done at this meeting, but we're not quite there yet.
I'm glad you brought that up because I have one of those signs, so I'll take it back to Public Works.
Yeah, thanks. I've been working with Curtis, and he's been,
Curtis,
been great. He assured me that, I'm not sure who, but the people that are doing sign work have the signs in their truck, and we should be seeing them shortly.
I saw one on Grade Road already, so they're going up.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Great Road 92 there, yeah.
Yep.
Great, thank you. Okay, anything else for any of the activities on hold? Is there any updates?
Yeah, I do have one. We had discussed, one of the community events we discussed was doing a job fair. So what I would like to propose is we partner with the chamber to do a job fair. We're looking at doing a job fair coming up here pretty soon. I'll get you a date next time we meet. But we're actively starting to look at planning a job fair here at the mill, more than likely. And I'd kind of like to be able to, partner with the Veterans Commission and get out there and get the right people in here for that. I think it's going to be a lot of the same people anyway. But we'll get with the Everett base and things like that, tell them what we're doing and see if, they want to participate or can give us some ideas of who they think should be there. I know the city has already said that they're going to be involved. Community Transit's already said they'll be involved. So anyway, that's what we got going on. So just kind of look for more information on that coming up pretty soon. Great. Super.
Does USA Jobs ever get involved?
I don't recognize that.
It's over, at least last time I went, it was over in the train station upstairs in the bus station in Everett. And they do a lot of stuff for veterans, like, aptitude tests,
Okay.
figuring out where they need to be, resume writing.
We also have.
There's also one up in Monroe, if I'm not mistaken.
So another thing to note, continuing on a little bit more, is they're starting to go vertical on the food bank building here pretty soon. And so we can look forward to having those offices open for us to be able to get a VSO in sometime, and those kinds of things, or get the VA to come in on, once a month or whatever to help people. So we need to start looking for that kind of thing that we want to bring in and get a hold of those organizations and let them know we have an office that's available.
So right now, that's a good update. We don't have anyone who's said they want to focus on that piece of the VSO, in terms of commission members. So I guess I'll just throw that out there for people to think about. Let us know that there's things moving with the food bank.
The
So
county has a VSO, is that correct?
they actually have three.
Three. So what I'm thinking is we reach out to the county and say we've got an office where they could come once a week or whatever, see what they want to do to come over and promote that to veterans in Lake Stevens, let them use that office.
Now, Dennis, I think it was you that mentioned that the person who's the lead there is, I want to say her name was Gail. She wasn't, I think you said she was a member of our commission at one point.
Someone did.
I don't
Are you talking about Jeannie Ebert?
Yeah,
She may have been.
yeah, the first iteration, we had, a lady that worked at the commission. She was, and I can't think of her name.
Okay. I was just wondering if anyone knew her personally that,
What was the name that you said, Gail?
I know Jeannie personally. I know she's swamped, being that they opened the Blue Water Navy and the PACT Act. I don't know if she'd be willing to come, she was only coming once a month, but that's better than nothing, I suppose. I can ask, I'll just, she can tell me what she feels up to.
Is she there in that Everett office?
No, she works for Vietnam vets in the federal building in Seattle.
Okay.
She is an accredited VSO, so she has the ability to look at veterans' records and that kind of thing. She can pull them up and look at them and tell them what you need to do.
I think the person that Kevin was talking about there was a former veterans commissioner that works as a VSO or runs the VSO services in Snohomish County.
yeah, I'll go look back at my notes and bring that to the next meeting.
I mean, I was a former VSO, but because of COVID, haven't been trained in 3 years.
Okay, thanks, good updates. Anything else? I think I'm ready to move on to new business.
Can I take 1 minute on War Memorial?
Yes, sir.
I'm working with several from the American Legion with a suggestion on what we could do for the memorial. And the question was, what do we do about the Space Force flag? And so we're working on a suggestion, and I'll get that out for everybody as soon as we get that together.
Excellent. Thanks, Vern. Okay, anything else under the activities on hold?
I just have one more thing I just want to add is, why are we in charge of the War Memorial again? This is a city function, not a Veterans Commission function. Why are we working with this? We have nothing to do with the funding. We have nothing going on with this whatsoever. Why are we doing this again?
Just to follow up with the work that was done in setting it up. And we just wanted to have some input from the Veterans Commission to the city. And that's what we're working on, is a
But we don't have
suggestion.
anything to do with the funding or anything that goes along with this. We have zero funds to contribute or do anything with for this. I'm wondering why we're involved with this.
Good question, then. I don't know.
We don't have any funds, nothing to contribute or do with this whatsoever.
I'm thinking it's a good place to get a veteran's opinion,
Good place to what?
to get a veteran's opinion on the War Memorial, and it's a good
This
place to contact.
Has everything to do with the other group. I just don't know why we're getting involved with this. We keep branching out and getting away from our mission and doing other stuff. I don't know why we're getting involved with the War Memorial. I'm just trying to figure that out.
So I'll jump into, we've had this conversation a few times, and Marcus, I thank you, because I am now firmly in your camp. I don't know either. But I think, and I shouldn't be joking, it's a serious topic. I think I understand Vern's concern. I think Kim is articulated this well too, that it's not clear where else, like who does own it? Like, where should this feedback go? I think that's the piece we're missing. If we understood that as a Veterans Commission, then we could maybe direct people to that place, but it's not clear that there is a place right now.
Who owns it? The city owns it. So why are we getting involved with city business? That's what I don't understand.
Well, we're a function under the city.
But for veterans, that's not look at our mission statement, you guys. Our mission statement does not include the War Memorial.
Is there a line item on the city's budget for maintenance of the War Memorial?
No,
No,
Does there need to be?
yeah.
Yeah.
Who can bring that up, city councilman?
There's 3 of us that can bring it up.
Okay, well, that was a leading
Right,
question.
I think Marcus, and again, I think it's a very good question. I think the gap is that and I think this is where we left the conversation before, is that until there is somewhere in the city that we can identify that owns it, that there were several commissioners that felt we were the worst choice.
what commissioners? Because I am been on this from the beginning. Kurt, did you?
I did.
Sean, Kim, do you guys think we're the best people to handle this? That's not our mission.
Yes,
It just-
I'm the one that brought it up, Marcus, because we haven't replaced the flags and the whole time it's been there. There isn't anybody, because the War Memorial Foundation is gone. As soon as we got this one in chartered and built, the War Memorial Foundation went away. So there's nobody taking care of it. And
But that's not what this group was organized to do. This is not our mission. Look at our mission statement, you guys. We are getting so far away from our mission. We're branching into so many different things. I just think we're losing sight of what we were supposed to do. And now we're looking after the War Memorial with 0 funds.
Is this something that could be brought to public comment at a city council meeting, or could a city councilman bring this up during?
Why would this go to a city council meeting? I'm just curious.
Because the city owns it.
budget?
So then that would be a city function. The city should take care of the War
But
Memorial.
they don't.
Well, they need to.
I agree, but if they're not
But
doing
why
it,
are we
somebody's
talking
gotta
about
do
it? We can raise concern, but why are we bringing this up in our meetings like it's our issue?
Right. I think it's a good point, and I think the reason is we haven't pursued what I would argue is the right path, which is to get the city to stand up and take responsibility.
Why are we fighting this fight? I want to know why, when this is not even on our radar. We're talking about stuff that's not even underneath our charter, or anything part of our mission statement, the War Memorial. I don't know why we keep getting trapped into this.
It's been moved to the hold status, and as far as I'm concerned, you could just strike it from the hold status. The work's gonna get done one way or another through American Legion or some other way.
The
So
American Legion used to be part of this. Why is the American Legion not bringing this up as part of their thing?
we are, that's where I am. I'm the
Great.
commander.
So
of
then why are
American
we
Legion.
talking about it here at this meeting?
Because it's on the list. Take it
Why?
off the list. And they
I
won't
want to
talk
take it
about
off our list. This is not what we're supposed to be doing.
Strike it. Have someone strike it off the
Love to
list.
strike it. I move to strike this off our agenda.
Okay, do you want to
We've
make it
had
as a motion? Is there a
Do we have
second?
Second?
What are you looking at me for?
I'm just looking down the table.
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to take it off the list. Is there any discussion before we vote? Okay, all in favor? Say
Aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
It will no longer be on the-
So we will take that off the list and move on. New business. Anyone have new business items to bring up? Guess I have one.
Would this be a bad time to mention the War Memorial?
Oh, God.
What else can we do with limited funds?
I was gonna ask Kelly about we have one opening still.
One opening still. Yeah, I'm pushing it as much as I can.
I did see blurb on
Yeah.
that, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Spread the word, invite your friends.
Yeah.
Any other new business items?
This isn't necessarily new business, and I don't even know if this is appropriate to bring up here, but has there been any updates to the foundation? Because that is where we would receive funds to be able to do more things.
No.
Any, I'm gonna move on to item 9. Are there any upcoming, which I have a 9 in my notes? Oh, just call this 8B. Anything we want to change to next month's agenda before we adjourn? Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. So
Second.
I heard a motion and it's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Thank you all. Have a good night and look forward to hearing about when we're going to be out on the highway.